claims that he's next for Islam, claims he was told, you will be Islam's next opponent. You're fighting for the world championship. Signed a new deal. Signed an 8-fight deal. I mean, Prates gave us a lot of information. It would be unusual if in the process of giving us lots of information that he slipped something in there that wasn't so. But it's also possible that...
What is the message to Islam? What do you want to say to Islam?
I'm ready to fight. I can't wait to fight him. And I will knock him out. I promise everybody. I promise you, people in Brazil. I promise my coach. We're gonna change up everybody's life, and I will bring that belt to Brazil. He's good. He's have a good kickboxing, bro. You know, but of course I'm much better. So I'm excited to.
Saying that they believe Carlos Prates has a good shot at beating him now after seeing this Ian Gary fight. What's your reaction to the MMA community being some of them being a little bit negative about the way this fight played out?
Great, set it up and bring on the next one. We're expected to fight the best ones available. So if it's Prates, great. If it's Morales, great. If it's Shavkat, great. Bring him. I don't care. Islam is not going to care who he fights. Well, look, if we are pound for pound #1 and we claim that, and which we do, we shouldn't be afraid of anybody, and Islam's not. So I don't think he cares who's next. If it's the #1 guy the UFC picks, that's who we fight. So yeah, it's like you come, let's see what you can do. We'll prepare for you too, just like everybody else.
Carlos Prates has sent a direct and fearless warning to Islam Makhachev, promising that if they meet inside the octagon, he will knock him out and bring UFC gold back to Brazil. It is an enormous claim against one of the most dominant fighters in the sport, but Prates clearly has no interest in playing it safe.
The message was Islam Makhachev.
I will knock you out, bro. I will knock you out. I will bring that belt to Brazil. The first welterweight champ from Brazil.
Carlos Prates, Shavkat, they make me like training every day more hard. But because I see this is the real fighters who can give me good fights. It's more tough guys, you know, more big guys. With all respect, they are the most powerful division, right?
He believes his striking is exactly the kind of weapon that can create problems Islam has not faced before, and he is openly predicting something very few fighters have confidently promised: a knockout victory over Makhachev. That immediately raises the biggest question surrounding this potential matchup. Could Carlos Prates actually be the most dangerous striker Islam has ever faced?
I mean, it's so hard because like after Ian lost, he was almost like, I lost. Like I felt like he survived. I don't know. I have like a weird mixed emotion about like he survived, and I felt like he didn't give it. It's kind of hard for me to say this, right? It's almost like I never forget when I fought Dominic Cruz. I left it out there. I was fucking battered, beaten, fucking face was all swollen. I gave it my all. Like if I could, I just really, I guess you say, laid it all that on the line. Like, I'm going to try to finish you. And I just didn't feel that same killer instinct. Even Dana White said the exact same thing.
I felt like, I think that Ian is a talented guy. If he had even an ounce of killer instinct, you don't come out and hug and shake hands in the fight. That shit drives me fucking crazy.
Now, still, stylistically, in particularly a guy like Prates, I do believe that the UFC is probably going to give him Carlos Prates because they like him. Bro, stylistically, that's a great matchup for Islam.
The excitement around the possible fight is growing because Islam has already proven himself at lightweight, and now the challenge at welterweight could reveal another side of his game. Names like Carlos Prates, Michael Morales, and Shavkat Rakhmonov have all been mentioned as potential elite challenges.
Do you see holes? Do you see, you know, things that you're going to try to exploit when you fight him? He's been 17 wins in a row, and usually very dominant. But yet, I'm wondering, when you watch him, do you see holes that you're going to try to exploit?
Yeah, especially on the takedowns. Try takedowns on when he's striking, you know, like I like to see the way I can, like he defend something, you know, stop some takedown or things like that.
Okay. What about on the feet? What about the striking? What do you make of his striking?
He's good. He's have a good kickboxing, bro, you know, but Of course, I'm much better. So
Fascinated with Islam at 170 because I think it's going to be a lot tougher for him. And so now we're going to really truly see who he is. He's already proven himself at 155. There was really nothing left. Yes, there was another Arman fight. And yes, we wanted to see the Ilya fight. And I would argue that I probably wanted to see those fights more than any other challenge at 170. But now, him versus Carlos, him versus Michael Morales, him versus Shavkat, maybe a rematch down the line against Ian Gary. Sign me up. I can't wait to see how it all plays out. And so who are they going to go with? They had Carlos there. They had cameras on him. They did the split screen with Michael Morales and Carlos Prates. I feel in my heart of hearts it's going to be Carlos Prates. I feel like that's the move. That's the guy who's been more active.
From a stylistic perspective, Prates is especially intriguing because of his explosive striking and knockout power. Some analysts believe the UFC could favor this matchup because it would create a fascinating clash between a devastating striker and one of the best grapplers in the sport.
I don't like watch fights at all, like striking fights or some of friends. Of course, I like to watch, but especially if there's some grappler fighting, I don't like to watch. I like to watch like people's getting knocked, a lot of action and things like that. And it's crazy because now I really like to train grappling, more than striking, but I don't like to watch. Yeah, but I don't like to watch like grappling and fighters go to the ground. But not because of the title, only because of the title or money, but I really want to fight him because I want to test myself against him, I'm really excited to do this. I really think I can win. I can shock the world. I can make everybody surprised.
You feel it. You really truly feel it in your heart.
Yeah.
I feel like it's all coming together for you.
I will do this.
You believe you'll be the one.
Islam's team, however, does not appear intimidated by the possibility. Javier Mendez has made the situation clear. Whoever the UFC selects as the next challenger, Islam will be ready. Mendez respects Prates' abilities and recognizes that his knockout power is extremely dangerous.
Incredible fighter. But remember, Carlos Prates fought with Ian Gary, and how did that go? Just because his last fight was fantastic against which Mo,
JDM,
right? JDM. Sorry, yes, JDM.
Yeah,
doesn't mean it's going to be Islam. It's a different fighter. He did fight.
But he also understands that striking power only matters while a fighter can keep the fight standing. Once Islam closes the distance, gets his hands around an opponent, pushes him toward the cage, and begins chaining takedowns together, the entire fight can change. That is where Mendez believes the real test for Prates begins. Prates, however, genuinely believes he can shock the world. He is not simply calling for the championship because of money or the belt. He says he wants to test himself against Islam and believes he can win. His confidence is obvious, and he sees his striking as the key to victory. But Islam is not going to change his strategy simply because Prates wants a striking battle. In fact, Prates' desire to keep the fight standing could make Islam's wrestling even more important. The technical question is simple. Can Prates keep Islam away long enough to land his biggest weapons? Carlos has already identified moments where he believes Islam can be vulnerable during transitions between striking and wrestling. He believes he can exploit those openings, particularly when Makhachev changes levels after throwing strike. But seeing an opening on film is very different from taking advantage of it while Islam is standing directly in front of you and constantly pressuring you. Prates also believes there is a major difference between them on the feet. He respects Islam's kickboxing ability but remains convinced that he is the superior striker. That confidence makes sense when looking at Prates' knockout power, but the biggest challenge is whether he can keep the fight in his preferred range. Against Makhachev, one mistake can completely change the geography of the fight. Throw a combination too aggressively and Islam could change levels underneath it. Overcommit on a power shot and suddenly Prates could find himself defending a body lock. Allow his back to touch the fence and his escape routes become much smaller. This is exactly why takedown defense could become the defining factor. If Islam gets the first takedown, can Prates immediately get back to his feet? If Islam follows with a second attack, can Prates defend it? Can he escape the cage without giving up another dominant position? And if Islam establishes top control, can Prates create enough space to stand without exposing his back or neck? These are the questions that every dangerous striker must answer when facing Makhachev. Prates does not seem interested in winning a cautious 5-round decision. His mindset is much more aggressive. He believes the best and perhaps only realistic way to defeat Islam is by stopping him before the judges become involved. In his view, surviving 5 rounds and beating Makhachev on points is extremely difficult, so he wants to find one clean opening, land his best shot, and end the fight. It is a dangerous strategy, but it is also what makes him such an interesting potential challenger. challenger. But there is another major issue standing between Prates and Islam, Michael Morales. Chael Sonnen has questioned whether the UFC should immediately match Prates with Morales to determine the next challenger. On paper, that fight makes perfect sense: two dangerous contenders, one fight, and the winner earns a title opportunity. But Sonnen sees a major downside. If Prates and Morales fight each other now, the UFC could eliminate one potential future title challenger before either man gets the chance to face Islam. Morales has also strengthened his position by remaining ready and serving as a potential backup. That role can be extremely valuable in the UFC. A fighter who makes weight, stays prepared, and is willing to step into a major fight on short notice can put himself in a strong position for future opportunities. According to the discussion, Morales has demonstrated that willingness, which gives him another argument for why he deserves consideration. That creates a fascinating dilemma for the UFC. Carlos Prates may provide the more explosive promotional matchup because his knockout power creates danger every second the fight remains standing. Michael Morales, meanwhile, has his own undefeated momentum and a strong case based on his performances and willingness to stay available. So the question is no longer simply whether Prates deserves a title shot. The bigger question is whether he deserves it more than Morales. If the UFC gives Prates the immediate opportunity, fans get an explosive striker versus grappler matchup against one of the most dominant champions in MMA. If Morales gets the opportunity, the UFC rewards another contender who has continued building his case. And if the promotion puts Prates and Morales together in a title eliminator, one of them could lose the momentum that currently makes both fighters so valuable to the division. For Prates, however, the message remains unchanged. He wants Islam Makhachev, and he believes he can knock him out. He is not coming into the potential matchup simply hoping to survive. He wants to pressure, attack, create chaos, and land the shot that could change the entire welterweight division. He believes one clean punch could bring UFC gold back to Brazil. Team Makhachev sees things very differently. Javier Mendez is not concerned about the confidence or predictions coming from Prates. From his perspective, every opponent eventually faces the same fundamental problem. What happens when Islam gets his hands on you? Power, speed, size, movement, elite striking, and different grappling styles have all been presented as possible solutions to the Makhachev puzzle. Yet Islam has repeatedly found ways to neutralize those weapons. That is what makes this potential fight so fascinating. Prates believes his striking can finally produce the result other challengers could not. Mendez believes Islam's grappling will expose the exact areas where Prates remains vulnerable. Meanwhile, Sonnen is asking whether the matchup should even happen next, with Michael Morales still firmly involved in the title picture. Until the UFC makes its decision official, nothing is guaranteed. Carlos Prates may have the confidence, the knockout power, and the desire to challenge Islam immediately, but he still has to prove that his biggest weapon can survive long enough against Makhachev's pressure. Michael Morales, meanwhile, is waiting for his opportunity and has a strong case of his own. So who deserves the next opportunity? Should Carlos Prates receive the immediate title shot and test his devastating striking against Islam Makhachev? Or has Michael Morales done enough to move ahead and become the champion's next challenger? The answer could shape the entire UFC welterweight division. Drop your prediction in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more UFC news, fighter reactions, predictions, and MMA breakdowns.